Sport has the power to change the world.
We do a huge amount of planning before the Tour de France. We have 9 riders racing the Tour de France, as in most Grand Tours, and we have 22 staff looking after them, and that includes soigneurs, to mechanics, to director sportifs, performance managers, a coach, press officer, media and PR, supported by an infrastructure that includes 6 cars, a big truck that has all the equipment in it in terms of the bikes and a kitchen inside it, and then of course the team bus that the riders spend many hours a day, and in fact 200 odd days a year in.
It's pretty obvious, I think, that whoever's going to win this race is going to have to be pretty offensive.
And now Boasson Hagen, is he going to add another victory here? His face is a mask of pain. He's really hurting here. He hasn't got much left, but he gets out of the saddle. He's straining every sinew here in pursuit of a stage victory. And I have to say, for his efforts in the Tour this year, he richly deserves to get a stage victory. But he keeps looking behind. Arndt isn't giving up. He's chasing him all the way towards the line, but he won't catch him. And at last, victory goes to Edvald Boasson Hagen.
1 kilometre to go. The people of Paris who followed the race on television for 3 weeks now have it on their doorstep as it comes to the end of the Tour de France.
On Boasson Hagen's wheel is Andre Greipel. That's Andre Greipel up into 5th position. 3rd position is the sprinter from Katusha, Alexander Kristoff. This is the sweeping bend. You've got to hold your position. If you lose position now, you lose any chance at all of winning the stage.
Boasson Hagen getting boxed in on the right. Kristoff in the white jersey has got a big one. Greipel is coming too late on the right, and Dylan Groenewegen has won the day. But in the yellow jersey, Chris Froome has won the Tour de France, and the first people he thanks his team.
Sport has the power to change the world.
Team Dimension data for Qhubeka's Tour de France had it all. Huge anticipation due to success of previous years, as surely history would repeat, but in some way, shape or form, high hope those soon turned to tattered dream, as its star sprinter was struck down early, and so with it too, perhaps the team's 2017 dream. As the whites of Mark Cavendish's eyes mirrored visions of vanishing hope, on the tarmac in Vittel, broken, battered, from that pit of despair stirred the spirit of a team whose purpose is simply greater than winning bike races. We go behind the scenes with Africa's team for the inside story into one of sport's most intriguing and toughest environments. 9 riders and over 20 staff traveling over 3,500 kilometers, pushing their bodies and machines to the absolute limits in the Grand Boucle, the most prestigious of them all. This is a special edition of the Laureus Power of Sport podcast. My name's Jean Smyth, and welcome to the story of Team Dimension data for Qhubeka at the 2017 Tour de France. For Africa's team, there's a continued quest to fulfill Africa's dream on the grandest stage of them all. And so the 2017 Tour for the team started as history dictated, with huge optimism. A breakout success in 2015, thanks to a stage win on Mandela Day for Steve Cummings, had set the tone. And in 2016, sprint superstar Mark Cavendish catapulted the team into the spotlight to put him among the greatest to have ever ridden the race. As a result, expectations were high of continuing that stunning trajectory.
Every year we've punched above our weight, and we've done stuff that nobody thought was possible, and we've just had amazing things happen to us. And now we are no longer in this African team that can sit on the wheels and hide in the bunch where people say it doesn't matter, they don't need to pace because they're a small team. You know, we've earned our right, we've earned our space, and every other team in cycling is looking at us now as a fully fledged member of this elite club of 18 World Tour teams. So the nice thing about our team is that we're not changing our strategy at the moment. We take all 9 riders, we break the 21 stages of the Tour de France down, and we look at every individual and when they can be successful. Entrepreneurial, opportunistic. Steve Cummings thrives in that space, Edvald Boasson Hagen, Reinhardt, Mark Cavendish. So that strategy is not going to change in the foreseeable future, and it's nice for the riders because they get an opportunity to go to the Tour de France and perform at a high level.
Team principal Doug Ryder, a larger-than-life character and who we'll hear from regularly in this podcast, a man who lives and breathes his team. But 2017 had been a tough year for the likes of Cavendish and Cummings. The former had missed a large portion of the season due to glandular fever, and Cummings had raced against time to be fit after fracturing his collarbone, scapula and sternum earlier in the season. Success for this team is measured in how the message is spread in their endeavor for bicycles to change people's lives.
It's amazing when you come to a race like the Tour de France and you see how many people around the world love this team because what it races for. You know, the Qhubeka charity is something that's close to all of our hearts, and it's something that should be close to every South African's heart. And, you know, when you see the people that love this team and come and see it and wear the bracelets and the T-shirts and come and look at our new Qhubeka bicycle that is painted in the leaders' jerseys of the Tour de France, it looks pretty beautiful. It's a talking point. So it's a pretty unique, cycling team and a pretty unique team in sport. Long may that last.
With the Grand Depart in Düsseldorf, Germany, this year the team's plan from the outset was clear: to win as many stages as possible. The sport's disruptors once again at it. Simple plan executed well, with success almost certain to follow in some form. While in the race for the yellow jersey, Chris Froome again started as favourite as he chased his 4th title to take him among the greats of the sport. And what a race it turned out to be.
The hunger hasn't got any less for me. I mean, if ever, I'm as motivated as ever, given that I've got so much more to race for now. I mean, this is a 4th Tour de France, potentially a 4th Tour de France title that I'm here to try and get. And it's massive. It's massive. The challenge is even bigger this year. I feel as if the level of my rivals is even higher this year, on a difficult course as well. So I'm here with all the motivation I've had before, and if not even more.
The Grand Boucle then finally en route, the world's most prestigious bike ride, perhaps in a sport where glamour's often overlooked.
When you look at cycling and you look at the Tour de France and you see how many hours that these guys are on the road and how little time they have to recover, you could drive 2.5 to 3 hours a day from hotel to start, and your hotel could be a backpacker's. You never know, because there's 2,500 people that move with a Grand Tour, and to accommodate everybody is just unbelievable. And that riders don't stay in the same hotels as other teams, so you actually sometimes, you never ever see another rider unless they're on the start line and you're with them in the race. So if you look at how long the days are, how they stay and where they stay, and some people say, top sportsmen are prima donnas. Trust me, there's no 5-star treatment in 5-star hotels. Yeah, if you spend a day with us, you'll realize that it's all the little connected pieces, the staff, the riders together. That's why when there's success and the team is winning, the impact that each and every single individual has to make that ecosystem work well and function properly is more in tune and more personal than in any other sport. And so that's a beautiful thing to witness and see.
The early stages saw a decent showing for the team. Edvald Boasson Hagen 10th in the opening time trial, but also a number of heavy crashes in the peloton, the most significant that of Alejandro Valverde of Movistar, while Geraint Thomas of Team Sky took the early yellow jersey with teammate Froome lurking. Thomas, Marcel Kittel and Peter Sagan, first 3-stage winners, and after his tough year, Cavendish finished 4th in stage 2, Manx missile looming, and so on to another flat stage 4, finishing in Vittel with optimism sky high. After 191 kilometers in the break, Guillermo van Kilsbeck was finally reined in by the peloton with just 16.5 Ks to go, and in the process setting up a bunch sprint that featured all of the biggest names. But first, a crash with 1K to go. Geraint Thomas in yellow going down with a number of other riders. Thankfully, he was fine. Then cue real drama, and an incident that will be talked about for years as the race simply exploded on every platform conceivable. Cavendish slaloming his way towards the front and onto the right of the bunch. A gap that he was targeting suddenly closed, and he was caught by a flailing Peter Sagan elbow. He dropped like a skittle struck flush at a bowling alley and cannoned into the advertising hoardings. Pain etched on his face as he sat in the middle of the road being attended to by medical staff, his shoulder quite clearly bust. Arnaud Demer won the stage and the French were delighted, but the tour moved into overdrive. The jury of the race eventually throwing Sagan out, while Cavendish flew home with a broken shoulder. The race had been shorn in a millisecond of 2 of its biggest stars.
Well, that's the first I've heard of it. I don't know, the jury will do what they do. I was massively grateful that Peter came directly after the finish to see me. I have a good relationship with Peter. Yeah, even with the movement to the right, yeah, obviously I wouldn't be happy, but that's racing. But I was a little bit confused with the elbow in a way. That's something I'd like to speak to him about anyway. But in terms of disqualification, that's the jury's decision.
Oh, well, it's the sprint. I just didn't know the mark is behind me. He's coming from the right side, and I wanted to take the wheel of, who was that, the Mar or... No, Christoph, I think. I wanted to go on his wheel, but Mark was coming pretty fast from the back, and after I just didn't have time to react to go left, and he just came to me and after to the fence.
Cool. And what was his response?
He said, thank you to see me. That's the sprint, but I'm sorry for that, yeah, because it's not nice to crash, yeah, for sure.
I didn't hear from Doug for nearly 12 hours, which is very unusual for him. This cruel blow potentially mortal for the team. The uproar over Sagan's dismissal, extraordinary. And such was the reaction that Cavendish took to social media to call for calm and perspective. But was Africa's dream then over for 2017?
You know, we will fight hard and we will represent our team and the Qhubeka charity as much as we possibly can, as we always do, and we will race with huge motivation now. And with Mark out of the race, it does give the riders some opportunities. There's still lots of time in this race to do something, and let's hope the African sun will shine on our back and we can potentially pick up a stage win still in the remaining stages of this great Tour de France.
So how do you respond as a team to such a crushing blow? Well, for bike riders, that's potentially a quick fix. Every day, a new stage presents a new opportunity, and so too for this team. At this point, we press pause to reflect on what makes this team different to others on the World Tour. How do and did they pick themselves up? What motivates them to fight again? When I joined in the final week, I was amazed that on my first night, the staff were all socializing around the team's truck. This wasn't a team who, by their own measure, had achieved success yet. And it was explained to me many times over that this wasn't normal activity. But what I'd only gone to realize 5 or so days later is that they weren't being strictly truthful. There was a far deeper connection permeating through this team. Latvia, Holland, South Africa, Belgium, Germany, England and more, all for a common purpose. A tight-knit bunch of riders on the road, Norwegian, South African, English, Belgian, Australian, and all under road captain Bernard Eisel. Physiotherapist Alice Rawlinson explains.
It's a great team, like we joke, you know, when someone's on their phone and in the dinner table, it's like, it's one of Aldous' jokes, it's like, you don't have the phone because it damages the family, because that's like, when we're all going together, that's how it is, because you spend so much intense time with these same people, and all the stress and all the highs and the lows and everything, you spend it all, and the only people who can truly appreciate it the same are the people who are with you in it. So I think that's quite an emotional part of it, I suppose. And then, I mean, you were there, you saw how it is when you're going on the races, how it affects so many people, like the whole country, the whole of France, like stops while we go around in our little route around it.
It was, as I discovered, this reverse-engineered formula for success that showed the true essence of Team Dimension data for Qhubeka and played a major role in dictating what success was to look like for the rest of the tour.
The staff in our team and in any team are critical to the success of the team, and you know the riders put a huge amount of pressure on themselves and want to perform at the highest level in a race like the Tour de France, and if things aren't going your way, it's the staff that can lift the morale of the team and connect and unite a team. So it's a special group of people that come here to survive 3.5 weeks of being together and road tripping and doing all sorts of crazy things. So the vibe and the morale is pretty special, and it comes from the people.
It was among the staff that I felt the heartbeat of the team, the complete willingness to go beyond the call of duty, from mechanics Kenny Latom and Martijn van Schaik, chefs Tom and Marinka, laconic German humour of physio Jenny Wipperman, to the effervescent mechanic Rob van der Brandt.
Right now we are checking the bikes that raced today. One mechanic is washing the bikes, and we are checking every part of the bike and changing for tomorrow. Because tomorrow is mountain stage, we're going to change the gears, different wheels, other setup, so the wishes of the rider.
Is it a big significant change up? I know there are 3 big climbs tomorrow.
The most guys, they choose for 36 inner plate instead of 38, what they normally have. And Edvald chooses for 38, 32 in the rear. Same wheels. So it's not so big a change. For us, only changing the set and adjusting the gears. So
it's a dream job.
Well, for me, it's quite a dream job, yeah.
This one year's Dr. Aldous Cyrillus, a remarkable character from just outside Riga, to Yvonne Hoveling, a wonder woman of unrelenting energy and Dutch forthrightness, who made a fearsome team with a very impressive Rawlinson on all fronts, to Daniel Kavasina, a Croat quiet in nature, but with an inspiring passion for his job.
So we came a bit earlier than riders, like 2 hours before them. We prepared everything around the bus, their rollers and bottles and some food for pre-race and after the race. And my day basically will be around the bus and taking care of them before the warm-up and just all that pre-race time. I'm gonna be with them on their disposal, help them out and take care of like nutrition and drinks and hydration and stuff like that.
For laid-back media and PR manager Damien Murphy from Springs in South Africa, who is simply living his dream, and thoughtful coach Mattia Michelusi, who lights up as the cycling hots up, to the bus driver Francesco Villa, whose domain is one of the most crucial in the setup.
I show you my bus.
We're going to have a look.
Please,
we'll follow you, yeah.
You follow me.
So I've been on a few buses in my life, and there are never seats like this.
Okay.
What's happening here?
Yeah, this is the seat, the chair for the riders. Very comfortable chair. Is 9.
I see Serge's name is on this one.
Yes.
Is this his seat? So each rider has
Yes.
their own seat, right?
Yeah, this is Edvald, winner yesterday.
So he gets the front, just behind the driver.
Yes, behind me.
Okay, so we're moving on backwards.
Okay, we have a store, okay?
Yeah.
We have a store for the water, the small fridge. Here we have the first toilet, okay?
We're going to move backwards again.
Now this is the shower.
There's actually showers.
Yeah, shower. After the race, when the finish stage, the rider come in the bus, do the shower, very easy. And then we have...
So sorry, as soon as they finish riding, they'll come in, drop the bikes off with the mechanics, and they come straight in, and most of them, they either sit down.
Yeah, sit down, and then
they have a shower.
We have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Where we prepare for the food, for the drink. We have all for satellite TV.
Yeah.
Okay, decoder, Sky, and then one microwave, one first freezer.
Okay, so that keeps all the stuff
Yes.
in.
Here the second for the water, the fridge.
And it's damn hot in Marseille today.
Yes.
So that's obviously crucial.
Yeah, today is very hot.
And then
this is the second toilet.
Okay, and all your comms, and then there's obviously a TV up here.
TV,
and
then we have a big screen.
So yesterday I wasn't able to get to the finish line, but I managed to come and jump in here, and you were here, and we pulled the screen down, and we watched Edvald Boasson Hagen cross the line first in Salon de Provence. Listen, Frans, thank you very much for showing us your bus, and keep up the good work. Let's hope that there's more victory tomorrow on the Champs-Élysées.
Yes, why not?
Ciao.
Ciao.
A truly unique crew in every sense that also included Rolf Aldach, Roger Hammond, JP Hendricks as sporting directors, Scott Mitchell, the team's incredibly talented photographer, and of course team owner Ryder. The cohesion of this team was something special to observe, and there was quite clearly a connection that went deeper than just winning Tour de France stages. I was to find out in the week to come just what that was. With Cavendish out, a door closed on a particular strategy, or did it? As in the process, another opened for one of the Tour's most popular riders, Norway's Edvald Boasson Hagen, who took on the sprint responsibilities after such a heavy early blow, looking to immediately right Dimension Data's listing ship. Stage 7 in Burgundy saw Marcel Kittel edge out Eddie in a photo finish that still has people today unsure if the right man was given the victory.
The finish of stage 6 into Troy, where Kittel just beat Edvald Boasson Hagen, you know, when you're going down to thousandths of a second and more than what the eye can see, it should have been a dead heat, we believe. I mean, it was that close. We honestly thought that Edvald had got it and had won it, and unfortunately, you know, the jury came out and gave it to Marcel Kittel, and you know, that was a big disappointment for us. You know, Edvald has worked so hard to try and win a stage, and as is the team, and they really picked themselves up and bounced back and did them probably probably the best lead out that the Tour de France has seen this year, and it would have been just an amazing finish, an amazing lift to this team. But what it did do was it did actually lift the team to show that they have the power and the strength to be able to do something like that and to take on the best sprinters in the world, and potentially be successful. So we'll continue to fight and continue to try and see if we can stand on that podium.
Team Dimension data went home empty-handed, and it wouldn't be the last time this tour. And on to stage 9, one of the most brutal, won by Rigoberto Urán in a titanic battle among the yellow jersey contenders. But Robert Gesink, Richie Porte and Geraint Thomas all crashed out, while for the South African team, a second rider out of the tour.
That stage 9, it was an epic stage in terms of the mountains and in terms of the descents, narrow roads, really risky, and you saw many accidents and right in the front of the lead group. So this was, these were riders that are incredibly skilled and really, suffered big damages to themselves, and some of them are even out of the race, which is crazy. So, a lot of the descending now is becoming a competitive advantage if you can descend fast, and some riders are actually using it as a competitive advantage to try and make up time on the descents. And so the cycling is changing again, where instead of racing uphills and on the flats to try and get rid of competition, now the downhills are becoming a big factor too. So we are very happy to have got through it with most of our riders, and potentially all of them with their own skin. But we did lose Mark Renshaw, suffering from a broken ankle early on in the year, trying to fight for fitness to get back in support of Mark Cavendish, and unfortunately he didn't make the time cut with one of the stage winners in Arnaud Demar and the French champion. So the French champion was is no longer in the race, and that just shows how brutal that stage was.
Mandela Day has become a special one for the team, both on the road but also off it, as it mirrors the celebrations around the world. It's also when I came to fully appreciate the role that Qhubeka plays in the team is not a parallel one, but rather is central to it. I realized that riders and staff from all over the world were wholly committed to a project based in South Africa, using bicycles to change people's lives. And I realized that talk of riding for a purpose outside of your own realm was an intangible that other teams didn't have. It was, I could now see, what set this team apart. Before flying to France, I took a leisurely drive out into the Cape Winelands and to the Qhubeka assembly plant at the Nederburg Wine Estate to find out more.
Around us at the moment, we'll find like Janine is doing lacing of wheels there. That is putting the hubs and the spokes into the rims. And then you will find the other ladies on the far side. They'll be doing the assembly of the frames. So it's the forks going in, the headsets going in, bottom brackets, the bottom bracket cups, that's the bottom brackets, the seal bottom bracket, cranks are going on. So every single part of the bike, because the Qhubeka bike comes totally disassembled. So we get a frame and all the parts are loose. So they need to build up everything. So from our mud guards, everything needs to be built up. Saddles need to put on saddle posts. So it's quite a daunting task, but we're getting there. We're getting everything assembled and done.
It's obviously an important, from a social perspective, in this particular area of the Western Cape. I mean, you're providing young women with the skill, with the career as well, I suppose, potentially employment opportunity.
Now, what we did here is that's why we're having them, we're training them the whole aspect of the Qhubeka bike. We're empowering them where if they don't want to be here any longer, they can actually open up their own little thing. If they continue with us, they can one day maybe run the plant. If not, they can decide to open up a little workshop.
Ian, it's fantastic to finally come out and see the Qhubeka operation here in the Western Cape, and to meet some of the ladies and part of your team that are making dreams a reality around the country. Just how proud are you of what you guys have achieved here?
Yeah, immensely proud. Through the sponsorship of Nederburg, of the team, and our Qhubeka's relationship now with Nederburg, and the donation of this facility to assemble bicycles has created employment for 6 women who didn't have work before. And so it's immensely satisfying and makes us as an organization really proud to be a small contribution to employment in South Africa. Yeah. So since inception, 2005, we've distributed about 76,000 bicycles throughout South Africa. This last year we did just on 10,000, and this year probably a similar number, just on 10,000. Working Western Cape, Limpopo, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and then some Eastern Cape projects, yeah.
I mean, to actually see the bike, I mean, we all see the images, we know it, but to actually, feel it in your hand and just see the piece of hardware and the love and care and attention that goes into creating each one. I mean, you really are, it's people's dreams that you're making come alive here.
I hope so. It's really cool. And I think what's great is, we've got this intention of distributing 5,000 bikes in the Western Cape by the end of 2017. And hopefully those 5,000 bikes all come from this assembly. And a great story is one of the women that's employed here. Her mom is a neighborhood watch member in the community next door. And our first 50 bikes went to that neighborhood watch. And now you've got a mom riding a bike that her daughter built and is now earning an income from that. And so it becomes really tangible and really cool to see the closing of the story.
Beverly, we see not only what you guys are doing here, but it is making a big difference around the country as well. We see on the international stage that the Qhubeka brand's being punted in a big way as well. Does that add an extra bit of pride into you and what the other women are doing?
I mean, okay, I watched the Tour de France, so like when I see the Qhubeka signs, I was like, yo, here we go. But it is tremendous. It's actually very nice for us to know that overseas people are interested in funding the local community out here and empowering our youth and stuff. Other than that was like, how do we get the funders to actually get these people bikes? And what is nice about the Qhubeka that I like is that you don't actually get it like basically for free. You're actually working for it. You're not paying money, but you're giving back. And it's putting dignity back into the people as well. So I say thank you very much for the overseas guys and the Dimension Data Qhubeka team for what they're doing out there for the youth.
It's amazing. It's incredible, really. And I think not many NGOs who want to impact society in terms of mobility have that ability to leverage a global stage and something like the Tour de France. So seeing the bike there, as well as seeing the biking communities here, is that link is really amazing, and kids, when the team come out here for their training days and we do a big distribution with them, to see their genuine passion and interest for what the bike means to these communities and then them relaying that to a global audience is amazing.
A Qhubeka bike featuring all 4 jerseys of the tour had pride of place on the team bus and was always proudly on display, and it watched on as yet another second for Boasson Hagen on the day he was led out by the in-form man Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg, a 4th podium of the tour for the Norwegian.
The team did really good to bring me or always be in the front and riding, and Steve as well, and was in a good position, but all the way except from the last roundabout, and I was a bit too far back, and then I had to sprint from far behind and just didn't make it to the front, so that was a pity.
As a rider, how do you into the next few stages? What do you take from today?
Well, we have the confidence that I can be up there in the sprints, and just have to focus and do the best for the next 2 stages that's going to be in the sprint. It's on Friday and on Champs-Élysées, so it gets less and less chances, but hopefully we can be up there then and save as much energy the next days in the mountains.
Big day for us, big significance being Mandela Day, so we really were motivated to make it work today. Close second place, so it's a little bit bittersweet, but yeah, that's how it goes.
You're being spoken about as arguably the best lead-out man in the world at the moment. Are you kind of enjoying the responsibility that you have in the team?
For sure. I think a while back I said I probably won't be the best sprinter in the world, but I could be the best lead-out man in the world, so we'll see how it goes.
So into the final week, we, in terms of our strategy and our planning, we did look at the 2 stages, stage 19 and stage 21. So Friday and Sunday were stages that were already part of our original plan to try and go for the win. Right in the beginning it was with Mark Cavendish, but now with Edvald, Boasson, Hagen doing so well, having finished 2nd twice and 3rd twice as well, we are hoping that we can pull off a stage win on Friday's 222 kilometers flats-ish stage, and then potentially on the Champs-Élysées. So that would be just amazing to win on Sunday in Paris on the Champs-Élysées. So it's a big focus for the team, and we hope we can get our lead out together, and the guys will have a bit of luck, and we can potentially try and win on Friday and then have a cherry on the cake, I guess, for Sunday's Champs-Élysées stage in Paris.
After 2 torturous days through the Alps, well, for the riders at least, but not for the tens of thousands of fans lining the route, as they looked on and waved on, so to the final 3 stages of the race. And for a luckless Team Dimension data, so the 222.5 kilometers from Embrun to Salon de Provence loomed, and I joined JP Hendricks in one of the race cars.
Today, feeding water bottles will be authorised as of kilometre 25 for the start of feeding and water bottles, and all the way to the last 20 kilometres.
Sky's Chris Froome has tightened his grip on a 4th Tour de France victory following the final mountain stage of this year's competition yesterday. Jean Smyth EWN sports reporter Lucky Guy is with Team Dimension Data. He's at the Tour de France. Jean, I'm not sure if you can hear us there.
Hi, Mandy. Yeah, good afternoon. I can. I'm actually in one of the race cars. We are sitting just behind the main race at the moment, which got underway about half an hour ago. And you're going to hear a lot of noise in the background because we've got 3 different radios running here. The race radio and then obviously direct communications with the Team Dimension Data out on the road.
We've had a coach driving around France on his own with a video camera on the front of his car for the last 3 weeks. And then he's been sending those videos through to us. So we had a video, live footage of the last 50k today. So we knew every single roundabout. So the notes on mine was 3.3 kilometres to go left-hand side. And then, he just chose the right way. So it was absolutely perfect.
Kom igen! Eddie! Hele veien, 250 meter igjen! Kjør, vi har ventet siden 2014! Da vant Alexander Kristoff 2 etappeseiere! Edvald må vi helt tilbake til 2011! He is back! Eddie the boss! Eddie the boss! Jadda! La-la-la-la-la-la! Vi har vunnet etappen! Woo! Jadda!
After 2 second-place finishes, the Team Dimension Data for Qhubeka team bus erupted as Boasson Hagen pulled clear with just under 2 kilometers to go to win in Salon de Provence. An early break of 20 riders stayed away for most of the day, with Boasson Hagen the only Dimension Data rider in it, and Team Sky not willing to chase as there is no threat to Chris Froome's lead. The Norwegian will now be targeting another win with the final stage, a sprint up the Champs-Élysées. The champagne, though, won't wait. That's already been popped in the team bus. Jean Smyth, EWN Sport, Tour de France.
So, at the 3K to go, Edvald with another rider took the right side of that roundabout, and all the rest of the breakaway took the left side. Inside me, I thought, great job, Edvald. We knew before the stage that the roundabout was short on the right side. We started to analyze each stage 1 month before the Tour de France, because as a team we think every detail makes the difference. Trevor, another coach of this team, spent several days around France to make a video recon of several stages. He did the video recon of that stage. He did the video recon of that roundabout. And also from the video, it was clear that the right side was shorter. That day, Edvald was very clever to take the right breakaway. And it's not easy to win from a breakaway because everything can happen. At the 3K to go, Edvald with another rider took the right side of the roundabout, and we can say that the action made a difference.
No, super. I think we deserve it. We lost kind of early, and then we have kept fighting all the way through, and if you keep fighting, eventually you can get your reward. I mean, it wasn't really too much of a lottery. It was more just if you had legs, you were there, and Edvald had legs, so he's there.
As a sports director, you have to try and put yourself in the shoes of the other people, and then what would you do if you were any one of those other 20 riders? The last thing you'll do is come to the finish line with Eddie. So I think he played it pretty well. If you're that strong, then you can quite often do whatever you want to do. And after 225k, predominantly into headwind, I think just form came through in the end.
Yeah, super. I mean, I think he's over-deserved. If there's one guy who deserves it, it's Edvald in this Tour de France. For sure, we will celebrate.
Champagne for Edvald Boasson Hagen. For endelig så tilbake der vi elsker å se han.
Can you describe that feeling as you cross the line?
Big relief when you've been working so hard for not only this tour but many years, and finally get it again. It is good.
I was able to see the last kilometer inside the bus on the TV, and inside the bus the adrenaline was very high. We were very happy for that victory, not just because it was a well-deserved victory at the Tour de France, but because that victory was a real team victory. Behind that victory, there is a big commitment from all the team, and I would say that victory was a great victory we did all together. That is why we were so happy.
This team has had such success in this Tour de France. I mean, we've been on such a rise. You know, some teams don't win a stage in 3 years, and in 3 years we've won 7. You know, it is honestly incredible when you put it into that context in terms of how hard it is to win stages in a race that is the biggest race on an annual basis in the world of cycling. You know, and for Steve to do what he did, for Mark to do what he did, I guess, with the team's support, and then, you know, Edvald, it was probably one of the sweetest and best victories because it came so late in this race. You know, we've been on the podium already 4 times, so sometimes you think it's not going to happen, but good things happen to good teams, I think, and to good riders, and it was, everyone was so happy it was him that actually won it.
And so, as the race headed for the capital following the time trial in Marseille, Chris Froome prevailed in one of the tightest contests in history of the event. Local hero Romain Bardet cutting a distraught figure in the velodrome as he nearly slipped off the podium in the crushing southern heat. While for South Africa, another reason to cheer. Team UAE's Louis Meintjes having the race of his life to finish 8th overall and 2nd in the young riders category behind Simon Yates. We caught up with him and asked if he believed he'd be a future winner of the Tour de France.
Yeah, winning is definitely the dream, but just also to give it my best. I mean, there's always other competitors, and your result kind of depends more on how quickly the other guy goes as to how quick you go. So dreaming of winning the Tour de France and trying to take the small steps to get there.
So on to Paris, where Eddie just missed out again as he finished 3rd. But for Team Dimension data for Qhubeka, 5 podium finishes overall in 2017. The team bus became a focal point. Partners, fans, staff all descended to celebrate as one around the bus, deservedly popping the champagne corks yet again.
Massively proud. You know, they went out, they showed their face. You know, the whole strategy team was wiped out after 4 days, but you saw the character of the guys. You saw they wanted to go out and give everything for the charity, for the country, and for our sponsors. It was beautiful to see.
I think I showed what I'm capable of as a lead-out man, and I think I got a lot of respect from my own team and riders from other teams also, so I hope to continue in this role in the future.
Yeah, it was my first Tour de France. I've done Vuelta and Giro before. This is obviously a lot more people around, a lot more stressful in the bunch, just all around, just more stress. So yeah, but it's been a good experience.
The dream now has firmly taken hold, but what lies in the future for this unique outfit battling it out on one of the world's toughest stages? For the rest of this season, you can follow the exploits of both the World Tour team as they take on the likes of the Vuelta a España, while the Continental team is also making enormous strides. It is from this stable that the next phase of Team Dimension data for Qhubeka's dream could be realized. South Africa's Nicholas Dlamini is one of the country's brightest prospects, and his story from impoverished background to taking on the world's best is entirely realistic. Nick is also a member of the Laureus Youth Empowerment Through Sport initiative, and I spoke to him and asked him to sum up for me what freedom riding his bike had given him.
It's really been difficult, really, growing up from a township where it's crowded and you've got a small house and you got to walk a good distance to get to school and come back. And by the time you get back from school, you only got an hour to get a bit of training in. So, I mean, those are the things I had to get through to get to where I am now. And my family was really supportive, especially my mom, because she was the one that was looking after us, and because my father wasn't around, so my mom did an incredible job to try support me as best as she could. So it was really difficult, and I'm really happy to be where I am now and be able to let her resign from work and make her life more easier now. So I'm really happy to be able to do that.
While for the inspirational Doug Ryder, a man who lives and breathes his cycling team, and a deeply committed and passionate South African, Dlamini has potential talent to inspire not only across the country, but globally.
So, this team was built on a dream, and to see a young rider like Nicholas Dlamini, who came and comes from limited means and opportunities to succeed and make it as a neo-pro rider in Team Dimension Data for Qhubeka is truly special to witness. Nick has big dreams and has worked so hard to realize his dreams, focusing first on getting through his school and then, of course, on his passion of riding his bike. Nick is so fortunate to have the most amazing influences and mentors in his life, but that also just talks to his character, his values, his bright, open and welcoming face that is so engaging. It's so rewarding to see Nick graduate from our UCR Continental Development Team into the first division of cycling. It just shows how important the development program of Team Dimension Data is and why we race to mobilize people on bicycles through the Qhubeka charity. A charity that is a hand-up program, where bicycles are earned and not just handed out. So we wish Nick all the best as he embarks on the biggest challenge of his young sporting life, racing in the World Tour at the highest level in world cycling, to hopefully one day be that rider, that gets to race in the Tour de France and to build for, another dream, the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. So we wish Nick all the best in this new journey.
The 2017 Tour de France will be deemed a big success, a true reflection of a team that's matured into a major force on the world stage, a team for South Africans to be proud of in every sense, a team for the world to take notice of, and a team with which Nick Dlamini wants to change the world for others.
It was really a great feeling seeing Eddie winning a stage and some of the riders being in the breakaway and really doing well, because I met them at the training camp and I spent a couple of days with them and I've learned a lot from them as well. So yeah, I'd really love to join them one day and basically be part of the dream that Doug has always had for the team, participating in the Tour de France and winning stages, so everyone loves Team Dimension Data, so it's really good to be part of a team like that.
You've been listening to the Laureus Power of Sport Tour de France Special Edition, and I'd like to extend a personal thanks to Douglas Ryder, Rolf Aldach, Roger Hammond, JP Hendricks, Adrian Ratuno, Alice Rawlinson, Mattia Michelusi, Damian Murphy, Jenny Wipperman, Rob van der Brandt, Martijn van Schaik, Kenny Latom, Scott Mitchell, Yvonne Hoveling, Aldous Cyrillus, Tom van der Gracht, Marinka van Tiefelen, and Francesco Villa for having me on board with them and for treating me as one of their own. While to the riders, Serge Pavels, Edvald Boasson Hagen, Bernie Eisel, Jakub Venter, Reinhard Janssen van Rensburg, Scott Thwaite, Steve Cummings, Mark Renshaw, and Mark Cavendish, an extra special thanks for being so welcoming. To the sponsors and partners of Team Dimension Data for Qhubeka, you can be incredibly pleased. Africa's team not only did the continent proud, but proved that riding for a purpose can see great dreams realized. To the Power Sport production team, thank you for helping me tell this story. Please go to iTunes to download this episode and the rest of the series, where you can find us on Omni Radio. Please subscribe, rate and share, and send us your feedback via social media. It's been a pleasure to be in your company. Au revoir.